Con ustedes, GEOFF FANCHER, Vice President Worldwide Distribution de NVIDIA.
Welcome and thank you for joining today's session. My name is Geoff Fancher. I'm the Vice President of Worldwide Distribution for NVIDIA. NVIDIA is very focused on the democratization of AI and really building a computing platform for the age of AI. And so today, I'm going to cover some topics on how we are really striving to make that happen. If you think about NVIDIA, we continuously reinvent ourselves, and you'll notice that our message this year is a little bit different from last year's. But if you think about where we came from, it really started as a silicon and a chip company. And we have added lots of capabilities by coming out with systems, tools, applications, frameworks. And today we are truly an enterprise computing platform for the age of AI. A huge piece of that evolution has really been around the development of software. And we've got capabilities now that span from the enterprise to the edge, from robotics and autonomous machines to core data centers. And having software that helps make all these technologies more absorbable for our customers has become really important. And we'll talk about how we're helping to do that. If you look at the marketplace and the opportunities we have, it's very, very significant. And so there's a lot of focus on how we can help customers absorb those technologies through the invention of software platforms. And we're very excited about what we see in the future. So today I'm going to talk about two software opportunities. The first one is NVIDIA AI Enterprise Software Suite. The other one's going to be Omniverse. And so just kicking off with AI Enterprise Software Suite, the goal here is to make the adoption of AI much simpler and to democratize it so more businesses and more customers within each business can leverage the capabilities. And AI is going to be prevalent across all departments. If you think about human resources, hundreds and thousands of applicants can be sorted through AI so that you can pick the best candidates. For marketing and sales, AI is used to match products with customers. And in the security space, fraud detection is a huge space for us for AI. I don't know about you, but I constantly get alerts for, hey, did you really buy this product? Or did you mean to leave that tip during COVID? We tend to tip a little bit more than the norm. And the credit card seems to always be asking me. That's AI behind the scenes that's making that happen. For operations, predictive maintenance to be able to fix things before they break. Through computer vision and inspection of different components in an operation. For customer service, it'll make, and it already is making customer service faster and more responsive to the customers. And from a product development standpoint, faster development of products and deployment leading to faster time to revenue for those folks is really important leverage of AI. So it's going to be everywhere if it isn't already in many organizations. However, about 50% of AI projects fail. They don't make it to completion. And there's a few key reasons that have been cited for that. The first one is that there's a lot of complexity in the data silos in customers. And the other one is that there aren't enough tools and capabilities to make it easy for customers to deploy the infrastructure to support those applications. And in fact, about 70% of time on an AI project is spent just in the setup for the infrastructure. And so what our customers really need are AI tools and frameworks. They need the ability to do management and orchestration of those capabilities for the infrastructure. And then they have to have the ability to deploy these things on mainstream, commonly available hardware solutions. And so NVIDIA has worked with VMware and our OEM partners to do just that. NVIDIA AI Enterprise Software Suite, we'll talk about in a little bit more detail, but at a high level, that's the software platform that's going to layer on top of VMware vSphere. And as you all know, VMware vSphere is widely used by customers to manage their infrastructure. We have a partnership with them we'll talk about. And those applications need to layer on top of a system. And we've got NVIDIA certified systems in the market now, and we'll talk about those. But you layer those three items together, and then you have a way to really quickly quickly deploy artificial intelligence solutions. So this document, this diagram here was created in combination with NVIDIA and VMware, and it kind of shows the three layers that I just outlined. At the bottom layer, you've got NVIDIA certified systems that include mainstream servers with NVIDIA GPU and smart network interface cards. You layer on top of that VMware vSphere 7.2 or later, and you also layer on Tanzu if you really want to manage containers inside that environment. And then on top of that, you layer on NVIDIA AI Enterprise Software Suite, which has the AI data science tools and frameworks. It's got the cloud native deployment capabilities and the infrastructure optimization tools. So what really is an NVIDIA certified system? That's really the foundational layer that you have to run the software. And what we've done is partnered with VMware and our OEM partners to actually do some validated testing across our GPUs, including A100, A30, A40, A10, and T4. And what I will say about that is that we're really steering customers to products that we have available from a supply chain standpoint. I don't know if you've heard about a supply chain shortage across many industries. Ours is one of them. And today, the products that we can get more quickly are the A100 and the A30. So we're trying to steer customers away from the others unless there's really specific requirement they have for those solutions. We also have our smart NICs, and those are from our networking group that we acquired through Mellanox. Those are part of the solution. And then you combine that with an OEM mainstream server. So that's the hardware platform. We layer on top of that VMware vSphere, and then also NVIDIA AI Enterprise software to do a validation. And we test those systems thoroughly to make sure they've got the best performance possible, and along with the manageability, scalability, and security that customers need in their solutions. And what this gives the customer is choice. They get to work with the OEM of their choosing, and they get to layer on a software platform that's been tested and proven to run on top of those solutions. And with the testing that we've done, even though you have VMware virtualization capabilities, we can still run at bare metal performance with these solutions. So you get the performance you need in addition to be able to leverage commonly available systems. And we're talking about systems like an HPE DL380 or a Dell R740. Those are the kinds of mainstream servers we have available to run these solutions on now. This is kind of an expansion of that diagram I showed earlier, and we've got a few more of the components of the AI software suite showing here. But you get the capabilities for Triton Inference Server, TensorRT, Rapids. I'll talk a little bit about what these do for you in an AI workflow. You also get TensorFlow and PyTorch. You also get NVIDIA GPU Operator and NVIDIA Network Operator. Those are things that allow vSphere and Tanzu to be able to manage the hardware for a cloud native deployment. And then you also have infrastructure optimization for the virtualization of GPUs, either to make one GPU look like many GPUs or to aggregate GPUs for bigger workloads to be able to handle whatever the customer needs. You layer that on top of VMware vSphere with Tanzu. The Tanzu piece is fairly recent announcement from VMware, and that allows you to manage containers, not just do the virtualization from a resource perspective, but actually manage it from a container perspective. If you think about that all from a workflow perspective, the tools that we give you allow you to do everything from the initial data preparation. You can train at scale with PyTorch and TensorFlow. Then you can optimize your inferencing once your models are trained with TensorRT, and then you can actually deploy them at scale with Triton Inference Server. And I do want to point out that NVIDIA has a number of pre-trained models. So customers who have projects they want to run around image classification, object detection, all the things I have listed here, speech synthesis, NLP, we have pre-trained models that you can layer your data onto, but it gives you a big jump on building out that training model as you're trying to develop your AI at scale. So we really help customers accelerate to actually getting into production and deployment. So from an infrastructure standpoint, what does this really look like? What's an example? So this is actually a hospital example where you can see on the left, the items at the top of the screen are really in a CPU data center where you've got applications and resources that are deployed across the infrastructure. But then down below, you have the GPU computing resources that typically end up being siloed for an application in a department or potentially even in the cloud where they're single purpose silos. And so there is a need to manage multiple infrastructures, and it's also very difficult to share data across both infrastructures. Tomorrow's view is, okay, let's build systems that have all the resources you might need, make GPUs a piece of the resource pool that you can allocate to your different workloads. And now you have a really unified infrastructure with better access to data that's much more easily managed for the customer. So the big benefits to this are, number one, customers get to deploy with confidence, and they also get support from NVIDIA on the solution. So if there are issues with any of the NVIDIA software pieces, the customer can call us. And we've also got all the handoffs worked out with VMware as well as the OEMs, so that if the issue ends up being something that isn't specific to our software, we collaborate with those folks and make sure that we get the customer issues resolved. So it is truly enterprise supported, enterprise class software solution. We also boost performance. Obviously, GPUs have tremendous performance relative to CPU when you're running AI workloads. So the customers get those full benefits and they can scale them out. And then they can scale them without compromise, right? You get that bare metal performance I mentioned earlier, and the ability to run solutions that require aggregation of GPUs or fractionalized GPUs, just depending on what the workload is that you need to deploy. So a huge solution for us, and we really think that that's going to help customers adopt AI across enterprises much further down market than we do today. And it's not really intended to be a replacement for bare metal. There are some customers who will still want to buy large systems that just focus on the training aspect potentially, or high performance compute. But we have the ability to complement that and leverage it out across the rest of the enterprise through the NVIDIA AI software suite. So very excited about that. And that's really helping us to show and deliver a platform that our customers are asking for. The other platform I want to talk about today is Omniverse. And in today's world, collaboration is more important than ever. And Omniverse really gives a whole new way of leveraging collaboration and simulation, specifically for 3D design environments. If you think about 3D design and what has to happen, there's a number of different skill sets. You need artists, you need engineers working together on different pieces of the project. And typically those are highly specialized skill sets. You've got architects that need to have certain application access. Engineers need different applications, and so do artists. And so as they're all creating, they're leveraging their own tools, and coordination of all of this and making sure you have the right versions all integrated. There's just a huge complexity. And you layer on top of that today's world of remote work or hybrid work, it makes it very difficult to quickly create 3D solutions. And they're happening across a number of industries. Our initial focus with Omniverse is really around architectural engineering and construction, media and entertainment, game development, as well as product design and manufacturing. So those are really the first focus areas. But you'll see it also impact scientific visualization, robotics, and even autonomous vehicles. And so what we have is there's this new normal that we have to address, where there are customers in remote locations. And that was common in the past, but now it might be a home office location, for example. Data sets are getting huge across each one of those applications that's out there. And then trying to get version control, making sure everyone's got the right latest version of the software and the database that they are supposed to be leveraging, and they all need to share that information. It becomes a very complex project, especially the larger the solution is that the customers are trying to create. And so we have created this new virtual world, if you will, with Omniverse. And it is a way to connect multiple databases together across multiple applications and then visualize them all at the same time. So if someone makes a change in one application from an engineering perspective, the artist working on the materials potentially or another aspect of the design actually sees that change occur on their screen in real time. So we've created this world where everyone can see all changes at the same time, and it's the latest, most up-to-date version of the database that they're looking at. So they don't have to worry about version control. So it's a very significant jump, and it'll help us develop all kinds of new worlds, if you will, in gaming. It'll help us create projects faster if you're building buildings. So time to market and development will happen much quicker across all of these different solution sets. So the solution is cloud native. It is multi-GPU enabled. It layers on top of our professional visualization solutions with RTX capabilities, and we can scale it either as an on-prem, hybrid, or cloud-based solution for our customers. There's multiple components to the solution. You've got Nucleus, which is really the place where you house all of the data. Connect is the way the different applications and users connect into that centralized database. We've got kits that allow additional tool development for very sophisticated users. And then there's simulation, which allows you to visualize all this, as well as RTX render. So it's a very complete solution, and we're very excited to be bringing that to market. We've got a quick video here that I want to show you that'll kind of help articulate the message that I'm sharing with you and potentially help you visualize a little bit. So just stand by while I play this video. It's just over 1 minute long.
As an animator, designer, or engineer, you can bring the power of collaboration between applications and people to your workflow with NVIDIA Omniverse. Before Omniverse, working on a project using multiple applications required exporting and importing from one format to another, often causing creators to lose information and compatibility along the way. And adding more people into a workflow was a nightmare of updates and file merges. The Omniverse platform enables true real-time collaboration for individuals and teams working between multiple apps and working across geographies. Omniverse brings the ability to seamlessly sync file changes between the creative tools you know and love, maintaining their integrity throughout your pipeline. Whether working alone or together, Omniverse creates an infinite number of connections from app to app, person to person, or office to office. Get Omniverse now and experience the future of collaboration for yourself.
So you can see that NVIDIA is very focused on creating a computing platform for the age of AI. And we're very excited about what that's going to mean for our customers in the future. Software is a key piece of that, and you'll see more and more software applications that help customers adopt AI solutions that are going to be coming out over time. If you want to learn more, I highly recommend that you attend our GTC. It's actually happening the week that this is going to be aired. And we'd ask that you please register and watch the keynote. It will have already occurred when you get to watch this presentation, but it will be available on replay. And if you register, you can also get access to all of the content that will have happened throughout GTC across the products I've talked about today and much, much more that is coming from NVIDIA. It is really the AI computing conference globally that our developers attend, our customers attend, and it is really a great way to educate yourself on what's happening in the next era of computing. There are going to be multiple sessions, as I said, that would be available. The keynote is available on replay, and Jensen's a great speaker. So again, I highly encourage you, if you only watch that, it's worth registering and going to that. The other thing I want to make sure you're aware of is that we have our biggest GTC in the spring. And this year, we're truly hoping, if COVID pandemic allows, that we'll have the event both as online, but also in person in San Jose at the Convention Center in California. So stay tuned for that, but you could mark the calendar dates, March 21st to March 24th, because that's when that event is going to happen. And again, hopefully I could actually see you there potentially. So that's the conclusion of our presentation for today. We're very excited to work with all of you. And if there's any questions, please feel free to reach out to our NVIDIA team and to our MAPS team in Mexico. We're excited to work with them and drive the future for all of us. Thank you.
Agradecemos a GEOFF FANCHER por su participación en el IT Solutions Day.